Hi, I'm Chase from Relentless Pursuit Creative, and we're starting a new series for worship acoustic guitar players. I've been playing guitar since I was 10 years old. I have been self-taught, I've taken professional lessons, and everything in between. I've done YouTube, books, classes, private instructions. So I've really experienced everything, and here's what I found. Sometimes music theory can be really intimidating. And it can be, but here's what's important to know. If you have the right teacher, music theory can be simplified and practical. It's really easy to get lost in the ins and outs of how music is created, and sometimes it just feels overwhelming. And the purpose of this series is purely to help you worship the Lord freely, but to do so in skill and in excellence. So what I'm going to do is, this is going to be a rather lengthy series, but each video is going to be short. And I'm going to take you step by step through what I consider the most important and practical things of music theory. So first, what we're going to do, we're going to start with the musical alphabet. And if you are brand new to guitar, if you have never played a song, you've never played a chord, this is the perfect video for you. If you've played guitar a lot and you're like, hey, people ask me how to play guitar, this may not be the video for you, but you could share this with others who need this. So if you have your guitar in hand, that's perfect. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a few quick images and talk you through the musical alphabet, and then show you how that applies to your guitar. And then I'm also going to give you a way you can practice this on your guitar so you can actually get more familiar with the musical alphabet. So we understand in English we have 26 letters, but in the musical alphabet, what we really have are like 12 different notes. And so if you look here, we're using letters from the English alphabet, but it's laid out a little differently. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to start with the note A, and I'm going to work my way forward, and I'm going to explain what all of this means. So the notes are this. You have A, and then you get to B flat or A sharp, B, C, D flat or C sharp. You have D, which is E flat or D sharp, E, F, G flat or F sharp, G, A flat or G sharp, and A. And if you're looking at this, you're like, why are some two notes and why are some individual notes? I will show you, and really you can think about it like this. If you imagine a piano right now in your mind and you see all of the white keys, those white keys are those white boxes there. Those are A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And then we repeat and we get back to A, and this whole alphabet starts over. If you imagine the black keys on the piano, that would be your flats and your sharps, and that's where you get something like B flat or A sharp, E flat or D sharp, and so on. Now, this is really important, and this is going to help frame your mindset and your understanding of music. So there are two intervals we can talk about right now. We can talk about a whole step and a half step. And basically what that is, it's the distance between two notes. And so when you look at the distance between A and B, that is a whole step. And here's a really simple way to remember whole steps. Whole steps always skip over a note. So if you look, you have the note A, we skip over B flat, and we go straight to B. That is a whole step. Now, whole steps and half steps are going to be very important in future lessons because we are going to talk about scales, we're going to talk about transposition, we're going to talk about all sorts of things where you will need to know this. This is very elementary and basic, but it is so important. So a whole step is that distance between a note and another note where you skip one. So A to B would be a whole step. Now when you look at half steps are one note to the note immediately next to it. And understand, whole steps and half steps can go forward in the alphabet, or they can go backwards. They can go down in the alphabet. So here you have a half step between B and C. Now, another interesting thing to realize, if you look between B and C, there's no flat there. The same thing applies between E and F. So even though you're not going from a flat to a whole, that is still a half step. So even though there's not that black key as on the piano or the gray box here, it's still considered a half step, because a half step is that relation, that distance between any two single notes right next to each other. Now, if we look at our guitar, this is where it's going to get very interesting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch camera angles so you can see my guitar, and then also so you can see on the screen how this works. Okay, so right now you can see my fretboard, you can see my fingers, you can hear my guitar, and so we are going to talk about how the musical alphabet and your guitar strings relate to one another. So this is something that is important to know. We'll cover it in depth more in a future video, but your strings, starting with this high string here, furthest away from your head, this is your first string. And then if you work your way up, you have your first string, your second, your third, your fourth, your fifth, and your sixth strings. But each of these, when they're in what's called standard tuning, they have a string name, or they have a note that is played when they're open. So this is a chord, this is a chord, but when you just play an open string like this, when you just play this note, this is actually tuned to a note or a letter in the musical alphabet. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to start from the sixth string, the thickest string right here, and I'm going to work my way up towards the first string. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tell you the string names. I'm going to show you very practically how you can take the musical alphabet and apply it to your fretboard, and how you can practice this and really learn how to master your fretboard. So first, the standard tuning is this. You have E on your sixth string, you have A on your fifth, you have D on your fourth, you have G on your third, you have B on your second, and you have E again on your first. Now, you have two E's here. You have what's called your low E on the sixth string and your high E on the first string. Now, when you are in standard tuning, this is how cool music theory is, and how simple it can be, and how the musical alphabet applies to your guitar. So first, let's check this out. If we take the sixth string and we take that musical alphabet that we looked at, and we're going to look at the first 5 frets, just right here. We have E, and then we go a half step. Remember, we're going from this note, basically an open note, and we're going to fret on the first fret right there. Sixth string, first fret. So open is E, first fret is F, and that is a half step. Then we have F sharp or G flat. We have G, and then we have G sharp or A flat, and then we have A. And so you can see just how chromatically, when you're going up, it seems very simple, but it is. When you're going up chromatically on the guitar, you're going up a half step at a time in the musical alphabet. Now, what's interesting about guitar and piano is where a piano has the black keys in between some of the white, a guitar does not. It is just laid out one note to another. And so you could even have things where you have E, F, G. You can have these spacings where you can go in between doing half steps and whole steps, and that's where it gets really fun and scales come into play. Now let's transition to our next string. If we look at the fifth string or the A string, again, all we're doing is we're starting the musical alphabet on the appropriate string. So, fifth string, we have A. In open, we have A sharp or B flat, first fret. We have B on the second fret, C on the third, C sharp or D flat on the fourth, and D on the fifth. And so you can see, even if I go back to E, you can see how simple it is to apply the musical alphabet to understanding your guitar. If this is your first time picking up a guitar and looking at this, you can see how it goes from E all the way up to A on the fifth fret, and it just continues. And in a future lesson, I'll show you about what's called octaves, how they repeat, and then we'll go into something called triads, where we actually begin to build chords. And you can literally play any chord you want to play when you understand the musical alphabet and how it relates to your fretboard. And then again, with A, all we do is we start at A and we work our way up. Now, what I've also done is I want to do this. I have this blank strings name worksheet, and I'm actually going to link to this in the description. Now, this is important because what I want you to do is, if you want to learn more about this, I want you to spend time with your guitar, the first 5 frets, going through this, and it is not going to sound musical, but go through this and say E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A, and then do the same thing where you can say A sharp, B, C, and so on and so forth, and you will continue that for all of the strings. So rather than have me do that for you, this is a great way for you to begin learning the fretboard. Like I said, this is not something you're going to record or something you're going to play for your youth group, or you're going to play for your church, or something that you would even use to try out for your church's worship band. But this is important because you are committing to memory the actual physical act of pressing a fret and saying the note name. So not only will you be learning the musical alphabet, you will be learning your fretboard, and you are on your way to just really glorifying the Lord in excellence and in skill with your guitar. So with that, that is going to conclude this first lesson of many. I encourage you to subscribe, to like this, and to even ask me questions that you have in the comments below, because I have loads of information that I would love to share with you to help you on your guitar journey. And all I know is this: I started 10 years old with a first act guitar. I didn't know how to tune, and I just fell in love. And I went to electric guitar, and I went to bass, and I just went all over the place. And it took me years, maybe 15 years of self-teaching just to figure some stuff out. And then I started private lessons, and I started actually diving deep into music theory. And I would love to impart this info for free to you. So thank you again for watching. I hope you join me for this wonderful journey of just falling in love with playing the guitar, but most importantly, worshiping God in skill and in excellence. God bless you. Have a great day.